Overreactions on talkSPORT 2. Right, Rory, you ready to go here, mate? You ready to go?
Oh, yes.
Now, this first one, just to explain it, what you're going to do, I'll read you a statement and you'll tell me whether it's an overreaction or not. Now, this first one comes from Alex Crook speaking on the Premier League All Access podcast. He says that Manchester United will finish in the bottom half this season. Is that an overreaction?
I think it's a bit of an overreaction. Not necessarily because Manchester United are good, but because the rest of the league this year is poor. So to name 10 sides that will manage to accrue more points than Manchester United would be a very difficult task. Like, there are obviously 5. There are probably obviously 6. There are potentially 7. There are maybe, if you push it, 8. You really go for it 9, but 10.
Yeah,
it's going to take something. It's going to take some sort of spectacular fall off.
Yeah.
Or also, it's going to take somebody maybe a little less known to do something outrageous. Like that for Alex Crook's prediction to come true, it's going to mean Brentford are going to have to go on a run or something ridiculous like that. And I just don't see that happening.
No, you don't see that happening at all, especially after they lost. Oh, no, they beat Chelsea, didn't they, in the weekend? Anyway, next one, Marcus Rashford will end up with less than 5 Premier League goals this season. He's currently on 1.
No.
That's got to be an
overreaction, is it? He scored 30 last year in all competitions, didn't he?
He did, yeah. But he's been poor, hasn't he?
He has
been poor,
he
but
has,
5.
He's very much a fluctuation player, isn't he? He isn't a consistent footballer.
No.
That's why he's not a world-class footballer. If he could play to his maximum every week, he'd be world-class. He'd be a potential Ballon d'Or winner. The problem is that he fluctuates massively.
Sorry, Marcus Rashford at his...
Rashford at his
peak of his powers is a Ballon d'Or winner.
If you think about Marcus Rashford, say, in January, off the back of the World Cup and into January of last year, he was one of, if not the best player in the Premier League, wasn't he? Like a very small sample size.
Ballon d'Or winner.
If he could play to his maximum potential every week.
Oh, come on.
Do you not think Marcus Rashford on his day,
compared
his
to some of the
brilliant...
other footballers in the world? So he's better than Jude Bellingham on his day, is he?
No, but my point is...
So who's winning the Ballon d'Or then?
No, at the moment, Bellingham is obviously better. At the moment, Haaland is obviously better. At the moment, even you could argue Messi deserves it over... Well, of course he does. What I'm saying is, the problem with Marcus Rashford and the issue as to why he isn't seen as being a top elite footballer isn't ability, it's consistency. Is that fair? I'm getting the impression that
I don't quite think the ability's there either.
But Marcus Rashford on his day.
No, he's a good player. No, I'm not saying he's not a good player on his day.
But if he could play to that maximum level every week, he would be a world-class footballer, wouldn't he?
Yes, but not to win the Ballon d'Or.
Okay.
Like you said.
Okay, maybe the Ballon d'Or was one step too far, but I think the problem for Rashford is the fluctuations in his... Like, he has the potential to be, in any given game, the best player on the pitch or one of the worst.
Yep, fair enough. Right, next one up here. Marcus Rashford will win the Ballon d'Or. No, right, Mason Mount has ruined his career by moving to Manchester United. We're Manchester United heavy today on Overreactions. He has ruined his career.
I mean, it feels like a long time ago, doesn't it? Do you remember Mace and Tony sitting in the Manchester United dressing room, referring to it as home? Feels like home. You've been there 10 minutes. Feels like home, didn't it, Mace? Feels like a long time ago, doesn't it, Tony? I wonder what Tony says about this.
Tony, if you're listening.
Listen, Mason Mount is a player that I adored. He's also a player that I think the Mason Mount at his best, I believe, is a wonderful footballer. I think the way that he disrupts the opposition is unlike any other player. He's one of the best pressing midfielders in the world. But he hasn't had a good game for 2 years. Like, he hasn't had a good game of football for 2 years. So, excuse me, whether that's he ruined his career by going to Manchester United or the Chelsea takeover or whatever, it has certainly gone wrong for Mason Mount. I think he has the ability to put it right. Well, I know he has the ability to put it right.
He's had injury problems as well so far, man.
The issue will be, is he at the right club? Are Manchester United the vehicle for him to find form? And I worry about that. Because, when you think about how Ten Hag's playing, you look at the Manchester United team, you think they're so in need of a Mason Mount, and yet they're starting Eriksen and McTominay every week. Like, whatever the question posed to Manchester United, like you would say, if there's ever a game for Mason Mount to start, it's against Bernardo Silva, isn't it?
Yeah.
Press and disrupt. Surely the day to start him over McTominay is a Manchester derby and he can't get a look in.
Yeah, it seems a bit crazy. So, yeah, maybe not an overreaction there that he's ruined his career going there, but as you say, maybe not exactly for that reason. Anyway, next one is to do with your Chelsea. And Simon Jordan said this earlier on White and Jordan on talkSPORT. He backed himself here. Chelsea will win the title within the next 2 to 3 years under Todd Bowley's ownership.
I don't really know what to say to this.
Is it an overreaction?
I mean, it's certainly an overreaction, but it's also an overreaction sort of built upon nothing, in my opinion. Like, I'd like to be able to rationalise this. I'd love to further the conversation around it. I just don't get it.
I'll give you Simon's argument. They've got the money and resources to do it. That's what he said.
I believe that they have the money. The resources I would question, actually. The resource of finance they certainly have. They're billionaire venture capitalist Americans who certainly have a lot of pie and mash at their disposal. But resource would suggest the best people making the decision, the best people in the world making the decisions. And I don't think they have the best resource. Let's remember, Todd Bowley made himself sporting director of the club. He'd never worked in European sport before, and he was European, and he was sporting director. So the resource, we have the money. And if you mean, when you say resource, if you're using effectively a euphemism for money, we have it. But we don't have the infrastructure. We aren't built to win anything, let alone a Premier League.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.